Welcome to Edupedia World.
In this module, we will discuss about central problems of an economy, meaning of economic system, types of economic system. In that, we will go through capitalist and socialist economy. In the previous chapter, we have learned that on the eve of independence, Indian economy was completely underdeveloped. After 200 years of British rule and their exploitative policies, India finally got freedom on 15th August 1947. Now it was necessary to reconstruct the backward and stagnant Indian economy into a developed economy. Therefore, for the most important task before the government of independent India was to decide the type of economic system which would be most suitable for India. Economic system refers to an arrangement by which central problems of an economy are solved. Let us first understand the various central problems of an economy before we proceed to different types of economic system. Central problems of an economy. The three major central problems of an economy are: first, what to produce. It involves deciding the final combination of goods and services to be produced. That is, it involves selection of goods and services and the quantity of each that the economy should produce. Second problem is how to produce. It involves deciding the technique of production, that is, whether selected goods be produced with more labor and less capital, known as labor intensive technique, or with more capital and less labor, known as capital intensive technique. And the third problem is for whom to produce. It involves deciding the distribution of output among people, that is, it involves selection of the category of people who will ultimately consume the goods. These are the three major central problems of an economy. Economic system. An economic system is an arrangement by which the central problems of an economy are solved. There are various forms of an economic system. Types of economic system. There are fewer main types of economic system which are as follows. First is capitalist economy, which is also known as market or free economy. Second is socialist economy, which is also known as planned or centralized economy. And third one is mixed economy. An economy is a system in which people satisfy their wants and earn their livelihood. We will discuss all three types of economies one by one with their merits and demerits in the coming slides. First, we will discuss capitalist economy. The economy in which there is private ownership of means of production and every economic activity is performed for maximization of profit. This type of economy is also known as market economy. Since prices of goods are determined by the interaction of market forces of demand and supply. Some of the capitalists on market economy are as follows: USA, UK, Germany, South Korea, Japan, Australia, and Canada, etc. The main features of capitalist economy are as follows. First is private ownership of means of production. In this economy, the private individuals have the ownership of means of production, that is, private individuals have the right to own property. Next is profit maximization, the sole aim of economic activity. In this type of economy, the private enterprises perform economic activity only with the sole aim of profit maximization. Consequently, there is optimum or efficient utilization of economic resources. Third point, freedom of enterprises. Every private individual has economic freedom of enterprise. That is, they are free to choose any enterprise as they wish. They can save and invest in any occupation or activity. Fourth feature, consumers' sovereignty. The consumer is the king. That is, when to produce and how much depends on the taste, habits, and preferences of the consumer. Fifth point, stiff competition. There is a stiff competition in all economic activities of consumers and producers. Consequently, there is minimum wastage of resources. Sixth point, price mechanism. Price mechanism refers to the system in which prices of goods are determined by the market forces of demand and supply without interference of external forces. Since this is laissez-faire economy, there is no interference by the government in the activities of private sector. The private individual maximize their well-being. Consequently, society's well-being is also maximized. In this type of economy, all central problems are solved by the price mechanism. Seventh point, self-interest and invisible hand. Every economic activity performed by private individuals works on the principle of self-interest. The producers want to maximize their profit. The consumers want to maximize their satisfaction. Eighth point, unequal distribution of income and wealth. In capitalism, since there are laws of inheritance, that is, after the death of owner, legal heirs will become owners of the property. There is a huge gap between the rich and poor. Ninth point, exploitation. Since there is an unequal distribution between the income, wealth of the haves and have-nots, there is exploitation which leads to social tension in the society. There is also class struggle in the economy. And the last feature is limited role of the government. The government does not interfere in the economic activities of the private sector, since every activity is guided by the process of price mechanism. The government's basic function is to maintain law and order in the economy so that there is continuity in the production process. So these are the features of capitalist economy. After discussing the main features of capitalist economy, let us see now some of the merits and demerits of capital. First, we will discuss merits. First point is rich varieties of goods and services. The different goods and services are reproduced according to taste, preferences, and habits of the consumers. The new innovative areas of production are explored for profit maximization. The diversification of production is simply met by the demand of consumers for necessities, comforts, and luxuries. Second point, proper use of resources, that is least wastages. In order to maximize the profit, there is optimal use of available resources with minimum wastage. Third point, efficient production and maximum efficiency. Due to stiff competition, every producer tries to produce better quality and more durable products with latest technology. This leads to technological advancement and improvement in productivity of the factors. Due to effect of stiff competition, maximum efficiency is also ensured. Only those producers are able to survive who produce at least cost and sell at the lower price. Fourth point, flexibility. This system can adjust itself according to the circumstances. During wartime, it produces arms, ammunition, necessities, comforts, and luxuries during the peacetime. Fifth point, inducement to work. There is a lot of inducement to work for everybody under capitalism. The ownership of private property and laws of inheritance stimulate the desire of the people to earn more income and more accumulation of wealth. There is a tremendous increase in the national income. And the last point under the head merit is rapid economic growth. Since there is growth of entrepreneurship, efficient production with more efficiency in capitalism. There is fast growth in output, economic development. This result an increase in standard of living. So these are the merits of capitalist economy. But there are demerits also of capitalist economy. According to Karl Marx, capitalism contains seeds of its own destruction. So our first demerit is class struggle. Due to unequal distribution of income and wealth, the society is divided into two sections. The rich capitalist leading a luxurious life and the poor not able to even satisfy the basic needs of life. Consequently, class struggle becomes inevitable, which aggravates social tensions. Second point, unequal distribution of income and wealth. This inequality arises due to laws of inheritance, private property, free competition, and desire of profit maximization, etc. Consequently, rich becomes more richer and poor becomes more poor. Third point, exploitation of labor. The laborers get their wages which are less than their marginal productivity. That is, they get wages just sufficient for their sustenance. Since laborers do not own any means of production, they are obliged to sell their labor to continue their existence and thus submit to their exploitation. Fourth point, wasteful competition. Due to cutthroat competition, the producers spend huge amount of money on the publicity and advertisement of their products. This leads to huge wasteful expenditure of the limited economic resources. Fifth point, business fluctuations and unemployment. This economy is afflicted with the periods and booms and depressions. In the boom phase, there is upswing, that is increase in output, income, employment and prices. On the contrary, during depression, there is downswing, that is there is fall in production, income, employment and prices. All these inherent changes lead to an element of instability in the economy. At times, there is overproduction situation which leads to unemployment in the economy, that is Great Depressions of 1929 to 30s led to acute unemployment. And the last demerit is misallocation of resources. The resources are only allocated to those activities where there is maximization of profit. There is no importance of social welfare. Consequently, it results into even great misallocation of economic resources. So these are some of the merits and demerits of capitalist economy. Next, we come to socialist economy. That economy in which there is collective or public ownership of means of production instead of profit maximization. There is the objective of social welfare maximization. This system of economy is also known as planned economy since prices are determined by a central planning authority. Some of socialist or planned economies are Cuba and China. The basic features of socialist economy are as follows. First, collective or public ownership of means of production. All means of production are socially owned. The individuals can hold property as necessary for his subsistence only. The profits earned by the public enterprises go to the state, which are utilized for maximization of social welfare. Second point, social welfare maximization. The basic aim of the economy is to promote social welfare and not to earn profit. The well-being of one and all is the motto of socialist economy. For that, government produces goods and services even at loss to meet the basic needs of the society. Central Planning Authority. The Central Planning Authority appointed by the government takes all the economic decisions, that is, what to produce and how much, how to produce and for whom to produce. Since the government is the owner of country's all physical and human resources, it has the power to enforce decisions and formulate planning for achieving the predetermined objectives. Fourth point, no consumer sovereignty. The consumers under socialist economy are not independent to decide what to consume. Rather, they are to consume only those commodities which are produced by the state as per planning. Fifth point, lack of competition. Since there is absence of profit motive, there is no motivation for competition. The prices of goods and services are determined by planning and not by price mechanism. Sixth point, equality of distribution of income and wealth. The socialist economy is based on the principle of to one according to his need and for one according to his capability. Equal work opportunities are provided to everybody. The earnings differ according to nature of work and ability of workers. The economic inequalities are reduced to the minimum level since there is no right to private property. 7th point, government's control. The plans are formulated and strictly enforced under government's control. The Central Planning Authority allocates all resources according to predetermined goals and objectives. Every economic activities, that is consumption, production, distribution, investment, etc., are fully controlled by the government. 8 point, limited private sector. Since public sector dominates the economy, so private sector is left with a very limited role to play. Large industries and public utility services like railways, post and telegraph, etc., are controlled and regulated by the government. So these are the features of socialist economy. After discussing features of socialist economy, let us now discuss merits and demerits of socialist economy. First, we will discuss merits of socialist economy. And that first point is optimal utilization of economic resources. The economic resources are utilized in a systematic manner. Although resources are optimally utilized under capitalist economy, yet production is based on self-interest and profit motive. On the contrary, under a socialist economy, these resources are utilized to promote social security and welfare of the masses. There is balanced regional development of the economy. Second point, better solution to basic necessities. The socialist economy offers better solution to basic problems, that is what to produce and how much to produce. Government is free to make rational use of resources, keeping in view of social interest, discards self-interest of private enterprises, so that people may get goods and services needed by the production is influenced by the real needs of the people and not total demand. Goods essential for health and efficiency are supplied free of cost, that is at nominal prices. Third point, equal distribution of income and wealth. There is comparatively equitable distribution of income and wealth. There are sustained endeavors on the part of government to minimize economic inequalities. Rich people are highly taxed and poor people are offered free services to improve their living. In addition, they are also provided more employment opportunities at fair wages. Fourth point, no class struggle and exploitation of labor. Since socialistic economy is a classless society, there is no class struggle. Everybody works as a member of a close-knit family. There is no possibility of exploitation of labor. Fifth point, no business fluctuation. Economic stability is the rule and efforts are made to coordinate all economic activities. There are no booms, depressions, overproduction and unemployment situation. The Great Depression of 1929 to 30 adversely affected capitalist economies, but socialist economies remained unaffected from it. Sixth point, no wasteful advertisement. There is no wasteful advertisement under socialism since goods and services are produced in accordance with the actual needs of the people. Seventh point, rapid and balanced economic development. The Central Planning Authority coordinates so skillfully and efficiently the natural, human and physical resources that economic development of the economy moves at a rapid rate. It also accelerates the pace of economic development by proper utilization of scarce resources. In addition, it leads to a balanced growth of all sectors and regions. So after discussing merits, now we come to demerits of socialist economy. First point, no proper basis of cost calculation. It is extremely difficult to find out the basis of calculating cost under it. And without this basis, neither the economy can function efficiently nor the resources can be utilized efficiently. The means of production are controlled and regulated by the government. Their prices are not determined, and without their prices, cost of production cannot be calculated. Consequently, it becomes difficult to decide as what to produce and how much to produce. Second point, end of consumer sovereignty. There is no consumer sovereignty. The planning authority uses its discretion in taking the important economic decisions regarding what, how much, and what to produce. So, whatever goods and services are produced has to be accepted by the consumers. Their taste, habits, and preferences do not matter at all. Third point, too much bureaucratization. There is too much bureaucratization in the socialist economy. It results into undue delay and rigidity in taking quick decisions. The bureaucrats are not innovative in running business because they lack motivation, fear, public criticism, lack required training in economics and management. Moreover, since the state enterprises do not face any competition in any form, they work inefficiently. Fourth point, no importance to personal efficiency and productivity. Since no importance is attached to personal efficiency and productivity of laborers, it adversely affects their efficiency. Fifth point, lack of freedom. This system results into an end of economic freedom of the people. The whole economic and political power is concentrated into the hands of the government, leading to rampant corruption. All economic activities and physical means of production are regulated and controlled by the state. So we can conclude that the central economic planning is a political dictatorship. Sixth point, wheel of secrecy. Every economic activity is kept as a closely guarded secret from other countries. As a result, countries become suspicious of each other's activities, causing tension in the world. And the last demerit is less initiative. People lack initiative. They work as a cog wheel in machine. Without initiative, people can't make any progress. This system is dubbed as a road to serfdom. So these are the demerits of socialist economy. Thank you for watching Edupedia World videos.